Hey TV fans, Bored Now back with you. On this video I'm going to be talking about the 5th episode of the 3rd season of Netflix's Lostinspace. So full spoilers from the beginning, and I think this is one of the weaker episodes of the season. I mean, maybe the weakest so far, and I don't mean that in like a negative way, not super negative anyway. I think the only reason I think it's a little bit not as good as the others is because the characters are basically split up for the whole of the episodes. They're all in their little group and it's sort of jumping about a bit. I know for a lot of this season you've sort of had that anyway, but at least it was clearly defined where you had the two groups. A few different groups. You had Judy and Maureen who were together. In some ways what's happening with them takes up the most time and the most important plot, because we get these flashbacks to Maureen when she was younger, when she first had Judy, and it shows you then it's partly because of having Judy that she had to give up the dream of being an astronaut. And we sort of cut between them. The flashbacks aren't totally needed. I think they feel like maybe they could have been cut, except for the fact that there is a scene in them where she's like giving Judy like motivational speech where she says, "You're Judy Robinson, you can do anything." And it's something which in the present Judy says to herself, because they come up with this conundrum. Maureen can't move without setting up like a detonator because it's sort of rigged like under a seat. So, and at the same time they discover they're being sucked into the ground by this sort of organism, this being. So it's actually some quite clever stuff, because they have to try and figure out a way to essentially make the creature vomit so that it'll spit them out. But obviously the catch is Maureen can't move because it'll set off the thing. So they sort of try a couple of different things, and it's getting to the point where Maureen is just saying, "Go save yourself, Judy," and Judy refuses to do it. Like this case, and they quickly dive into the case, and then they sort of set something off, and it sort of makes it sick. So eventually they sort of escape together. Of this show though, I think it is like a throwback show in that sense, where I think in most episodes the characters are in danger of some sort and there is like jeopardy, but part of the fun is seeing how they're going to figure it out. It's like a puzzle in that sense. So in a way it's not a massive complaint. It's just something where it's a bit more predictable because of it. But it's not, they do find like interesting ways for them to get out of it, and they use the science well, and visually it looks good. So that was their plot really. You have John and Penny who are like together, and they're actually looking for like the robot to guide them, and they sort of come across it. And there's this stuff, I will say actually, because at one point, because they're sort of doing this thing where they're like disarming the different ships, like the different parts of the ship, to throw the robots off, or so that the robots won't come along and just like take them. The best scene actually is when Penny's like asking John for advice about kind of which guy should she choose, like Liam or CJ, and obviously the love triangle stuff has been some of the weaker stuff of the season, but it obviously hasn't focused on it that much. But yeah, the reason this scene works really well is because the reason Penny's doing it is to like distract John from the situation at hand, and to take his mind off the fact that if this goes wrong, they could be done for. So it's like a tactic. And again, I think one of the good things about this season is just seeing the character growth, because obviously in the past Penny hasn't taken things as seriously as like Judy has when it comes to like the mission and being part of the crew, or comic relief, playful type character. A bit more of a typical teenage girl in some ways, but in this season we have started to see the growth in her in that sense. I mean, obviously there was other signs of growth anyway, but when it comes to that side of the character, so I thought this was really good. There's some good comic release stuff with Don, him and his like his chicken called Debbie, who gets separated at one point. And the main thing with Don is then he bumps into like, I think it's 2 of the robots and 2 of the evil ones, and obviously they do the whole thing where it looks like they're gonna kill him, but they actually don't. And I think what it amounts to is that they sort of scan his brain for information and then knock him out. I'm not too sure why they didn't kill him. I guess maybe just because it's not really what they were trying to do. Like maybe they don't think like that, so to speak. They got the information, so they just moved on. With Will and Smith, I think that works perfectly, the fact that they end up together, like with everyone separated, because so much of the early drama in like the first season of the show was involving them, and obviously Smith always preying on Will because he was the youngest and didn't suspect her and stuff. And obviously the sort of relationship has evolved. He's lost like his, I think it was like the camera, but whatever was in the bag of his, so at one point he tries to rescue it, and that becomes like the big thing with them, because he's like climbing up the tree and trying to get it because it's hanging from the branch, and it slips, but then Robot shows up at just the right time and like catches it, and that sort of reunites them, because obviously Penny and John are with the robot. Solid episode. I enjoyed it a fair bit. It just wasn't as good, I don't think, as the 4 episodes that came before it in this season. It probably is the weakest, mostly because of them being, because it's almost like you had several sort of plots. So I suppose the Judy Maureen stuff was the most important of the episode, but good stuff again. I'm still enjoying it. That's Lostinspace, episode 5 of the 3rd season. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. Share me out on social media. Just to promote something else TV wise, like newer TV, which I do. If you're interested in it, I review Dexter New Blood weekly. So 1 episode per week. 6 episodes into that now, so if you're interested in that show, then check out my thoughts on that, and look out for like live streams, special Christmas live streams this month, like film, TV watches, various things. I'm planning like a Christmas quiz this week on stream, so if you look out for that if you're interested. And also check me out on Patreon, patreon.com/boardnow, for some exclusive content on there. You can support the channel for as little as $1 per month, or £1 if you're in the UK. But thanks for listening, guys, and I'll see you again soon.